Scott Baldwin, Baldwin Capital, back with another Monday Minute. As always, delighted to be here. It occurs to me I should have worn my soccer tie today instead of my children's tie, because I'm going to tell a story about soccer and how it relates to investing. So here we go. A few years back, the Professional Soccer Leagues commissioned a study by the Sagarin statistical people to study penalty kicks. Well, now, a penalty kick is when there is an infraction and the player gets to put the ball down and on the official's whistle, kick it toward the goal unimpeded with nobody there but the goalie. And here's what they learned. They learned that the professional goalies, when a penalty kick was attempted, they had to guess, where it might go, because the net's pretty big. And we learned that 47% of the time they dive to their right. And that 43% of the time they dive to their left. And 10% of the time they hold their ground. Well, then they studied where the kicks go and learned that 35% of the time the kicker kicked it to the right. And 31% of the time the kicker kicked it to the left. And at 34% of the time, kicked it right straight down the middle in hopes that the goalie would have dived one way or the other. So the resultant statistics all come up that just over 11% of the kicks actually got saved. The saved includes, even if the goalie didn't touch it, they missed the net. So sometimes they just missed. The reality is 12% got saved. Well, so then they asked the goalies, these professional goalies, they said, "Sir, don't you know that if you didn't move, instead of 12% saves, you'd get close to 30%, because that's how many times it gets kicked down the middle. And you wouldn't have to do anything if you just stood your ground." And the goalies admitted that, yeah, they knew that. So that begs the question, well, if you know that, why don't you just stand your ground? And the goalie said, because it's too hard to do nothing. The old phrase, don't just stand there, do something, that is ingrained in us, and we have to dive to save a ball. We know what that lesson really washes over into the investment world. Too many times we investors try and do something when things are bad. We try and dive to the left and buy bonds. We try and dive to the left and buy gold. We try and change and get fancy systems, when the sure, steady way to build wealth is to stay with our plan and go right down the middle, owning the biggest, strongest companies in the United States and around the world. Let's put a twist on that. Don't just stand there, do something. How about, don't just do something, stand there. That's the recipe for success, especially in tough times like we have now. Stay with our plan. All right, that's today's Monday Minute. I'm Scott Baldwin, and until the next time, stay smart, stay invested. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.